problem. If there was no expectation, then probably it would have been easier. Now that the expectations have set, I hope I do some justice. Thanks again, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity, and thanks to your college. It's been a home ground. When you say Basaveshwar Engineering College, it's a home ground for me. So before we start, good afternoon, everybody. A small, guidelines you can call in my sessions. Normally, I prefer people to ask me questions in between only if they get a question. But at the same time, there are 130 people. So anybody has a very valid question or wants to disagree with what I say at some point in time, just unmute yourself and let's have a discussion at that point in time. But unless you're talking, let everybody keep ourselves at mute. Is that possible? If possible, give me a thumbs up. That will also show me how many people are awake. Can all of you give me a thumbs up if you just heard this and you registered it? And let me see how many thumbs ups I get in the reaction button. There is a palm that is there. Okay, there is one person who has done that. Okay, there's a palm that you can see. Okay, slowly people are coming in. Fantastic. Thanks so much. At least some people are awake, because normally in sessions I have make participants come on video. So here that's a bandwidth issue. That's absolutely fine. We'll have to make adjusting with the limitations. So before we start, I have a small question. All people who have raised their thumbs, please lower the thumbs. Please lower the hands. Please lower the hands. Now I have a question. Anybody one by one, you can raise your hands, and probably when I take the name, that person can unmute and put the point forward. I have a question before I start the session. The first question which I wanted to ask is, decision making, is it emotional or is it logical? Anybody who wants to share their views on this particular question? Decision making, is it logical or is it emotional? Anybody wants to say, raise your hands. We will probably, then I'll tell the name and that person can unmute and speak. Okay, Varaprasad sir. Then Priyadarshini, I'll take two people. Yes,
sir. Decision should actually be logical, but most of the times it is emotional.
Okay, most of the times you use the word, but I like the fact that you said decision has to be logical. Okay, now I make a small question to you. Purchase decisions. You go to purchase something in a shop. Is that decision logical or is that decision? Devjani ma'am, Mahapatra sir, thoda sa mute kar lenge. Okay, yeah, thank you. So Varaprasad sir, my question to you is, purchase decisions. You buy a shirt, you buy a pant, you buy a handbag, you buy a laptop bag. Are those decisions logical or even are those decisions emotional? I'll take somebody else, but first since we started this with Varaprasad sir, I want him to complete. Then Priyadarshini ma'am, I'll ask you the same question again.
Sir, it is logical.
It is logical. Okay, Priyadarshini ma'am, your opinion.
Sir, it should be of logical, sir. Then only we can take a pride out of our decisions.
So no, purchase decisions are not emotional based. Is that what you're saying?
Sir, most probably I won't make any emotional decisions because if I have a need, I'll go and purchase. If not, I'll simply observe and I'll come back.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, one last person I'll take.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Somebody spoke.
Hello, sir. I am Balakrishna. Generally, yes, when we go to the market, we are before going to market, we will have a plan what to purchase, what to not, what is the which brand we have to purchase. But at the time of seeing the product, the market branding and they will influence us to buy particular good. That is emotional. We will have some emotional feeling also before purchasing that one. Actually, we have a plan, but the plan may be changed due to the emotional decisions. Thanks, sir.
Fair enough. Okay. Now my question. Sharmila ma'am, last person. She's raised her hand. Others will talk. Next question. I like the participation, so but let's go slowly. Okay. Yes, Sharmila ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sir, my answer is that most of the time decision should be taken in emotionally intelligent way. It should be logical as well as emotional.
Okay, this is the most diplomatic and the safest answer possible considering the topic that was given to me. Okay, emotional intelligence.
Second, when we go for purchasing, maybe our decision before going for purchasing, maybe our decision may be logical, but after we went to shop, our decision may be emotional. And if we see advertisement campaigns and all, advertising and all, it is emotionally touching, and that's why many times we make emotional decision even.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. There were 2-3 points. Now all of you please mute yourself for the next 2-3 minutes before I just share something, and then again probably I'll start asking some questions. Please mute, lower the hand and mute yourself for the next 2-3 minutes. Now there were some points that came here, so I want to take it to that point. This is somebody has to mute. Somebody has to mute. Everybody is muted. Kartika ma'am. Okay, let me mute her. Can I mute? No, I can't mute. Okay. Kartika ma'am, can you please mute yourself? Thank you so much. Okay. So when I'm talking about, some people were talking about brand. Now, brand itself is purely emotional. It's not tangible. Okay. So that's a point which people spoke of. But I will ask you a small question. Suppose iPhone has got XYZ features, say 10 features. Suppose if I give you a phone which is the same feature as that of iPhone, I give you the same size, same same look and feel, the same processor, the iPhone ka same processor, iPhone ka same hardware, iPhone ka same softwares, iPhone ka same camera, iPhone ka same speakers, iPhone ka same, the latest iPhone model ka same thing, iPhone 13, same thing I give you. But the company's name is not iPhone. And logically speaking, if it is pure logic, don't you think we should go and buy that phone even if I get a 10,000 rupees discount? But people will not buy it even for 25,000 rupees, even if the price is 25,000 rupees. Samsung S21, same features copied, ditto, same processor, same hardware, but somewhere when if it is sold, the name of the company is, say, for example, Chaganlal and Maganlal Sons. Okay, probably we will not buy that phone even for 25,000 rupees, even though the branded one costs 1 lakh rupees. Now here comes an intangible one called branding. Hold on for 2 seconds. I'm not finished the product, the statement yet. Just hold on. There is another thing. I'm just debating between logic and emotions. If we sit down and deeply analyze even a purchase decision, kahin na kahin to, somewhere it would have been a strongly emotional decision. I'll give you some examples. The shirt that I bought, we never even checked the cotton kitna hai, terracotta kitna hai, terlin kitna hai, etc. Sometimes just because we like the particular shirt and my size is 40, I didn't get a 39. I actually bought a 42 shirt and I have come home. I'm sure a lot of people would have done that. A lot of people would have purchased this stuff because of a particular quotient called as what will others think. Let's be honest. The car that we bought, the bike that we bought, somewhere what will others think also influences. The expenses done during wedding ceremonies somewhere is not based on logic. It's based on emotions. I'm not here to make a statement that emotion is right or logical is right. But I am saying if I understand even a purchase decision process, it starts with logic. The purchase decision actually happens because of an emotion, and after we buy the product, we again start justifying it by logic. I bought a shirt even though it is small, but then I will justify it. This actually, I'm my size and because of lockdown, my weight has started increasing. That is why I wanted a 42 shirt. Okay. Or sometimes this is my lucky color. I don't have this in my wardrobe. All this is not part of the decision making process, but it is justifying as a face saver after we buy this. If you agree with all these points in a very broad perspective, I'm not making a statement here that being emotional is right or being logical is right. I am saying the purchase cycle happens like this. It starts with logic, goes towards emotion, and after we purchase it, then we start sticking to the logic. That is why sometimes buyer's remorse comes in. Buyer's remorse means after you buy the product, kahin na kahin to you start feeling, did I do a right thing? Did I do a wrong thing? This buyer's remorse should never come if the decision was based on logic. Any product that we buy, there is a buyer's remorse that is going to come. You buy a fridge in your house, and then there is a buyer's remorse that gets kicked in. Because if the decision was 100% logic, then this buyer's remorse should never come. If you are agreeing with me, give me a thumbs up, or 1 or 2 people can ask me some questions before I go to the actual topic. Because this was something which was needed to understand decision making as a process. Sharmila ma'am, you raise your hands. Can you agree? Don't agree? If you agree, don't ask me.
Agree. My answers are also saying the same thing, indirectly.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you. So, okay, people who are not agreeing, I wanted them to talk. Okay, fine. Now let me come to actual topic of today. I will go to slide share so that I don't forget some of the points. I'm not a person who follows slides to this thing. So emotional intelligence, before we understand what it is, let us understand something. We all have understanding intelligence. Basically, intelligence has got to do with a lot of cognitive learning. So when I say cognitive learning, I'm sure we all know what is cognitive learning. So what is the measurement for intelligence? Anybody? Measurement for intelligence?
IQ.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Beautiful.
EQ.
IQ. Intelligence quotient. So IQ is based on a test. So can somebody in this audience tell me what is the difference between a test and an exam? We are all faculties, so somewhere we need to, I'm sure you would know that, at least if anybody, test kya hai, exam kya hai? What is the difference? Anybody? Wild guess? Nobody? Okay, somebody's typing something. Yeah, Dr. Sheshagiri Rao sir. Yes sir, you're saying something? Okay, let me tell you. Tests are basically those exams which have been validated with a trial audience or a trial population. Sheshagiri sir, you're saying something? Sorry, we are not able to hear you. I think you need to unmute yourself. No. Okay. So basically, tests are those exams which have been validated with a trial population or a sample population. The test has been done so that when somebody gives a test from a new population, we can earmark them that this is what you are, this is what you are. Simplest possible example, blood test, pressure test, blood pressure test, diabetes test, all these are also tests. What we do, we take a blood pressure of somebody and depending upon the range, we evaluate it with already sample done. 80, 120 we say is normal. So basically आपका pressure low pressure है, high pressure है, normal pressure है. We give that based on the test being validated with us already existing sample population. Now let me give you academics based test ka examples. IQ tests are also those tests which have been validated. So when you get a score in an IQ test, we say you are a genius, you are a fantastic, you're intelligent, you're above average, you're average, and those kind of marking can be done on a candidate. CAT, MAT, all these are tests because these tests have been already validated with a sample size and sample population. So they know when a guy scores 613 test of English as a foreign language TOEFL. So we know that this guy's the English is this kind of category. So that is the test. Exams are those exams which are not qualified. The only difference between a test and an exam is in exam today, if I give one exam, tomorrow I give the same exam, I have every likelihood to make a huge difference in my scores. Say I give maths exam today and tomorrow again. Today I might score 20 out of 100. Tomorrow there is a chance that I can get 80 out of 100. Whereas when I do a test, the scores will not be, let it be a different paper itself. But if it is from the same population test which has been validated, my results will be 19, 20. It will be 20 means next day it might be 15 to 25. It cannot come to 80, 85. The overnight increase on the test will not be held. So this is what I wanted to share because intelligence quotient is based on a test which is documented and measured. So the measuring parameter for intelligence is broadly accepted as IQ. Now comes emotions. What does EQ stands for? Anybody? Anybody? EQ, emotional quotient. Is it a measurement of emotions or something else? Wild guess. It's okay. I need somebody to answer. Otherwise, I feel I'm talking to myself. Hello. Wild guess. Right, wrong doesn't matter. Anybody? Hello. Dak dak kar raha hai dil. Dangerous, everybody's gone to sleep means. Okay, I think we need to start with an activity. Okay, so before that, is there nobody? Can I have a thumbs up from a participants? At least I know that they are there in the room. Okay, somebody. So I'll pick the first person who raised a hand. Okay. Subhadra ma'am, what taxes Subhadra ma'am ne hands down kar diya. Subhadra ma'am, what is emotions EQ according to you? Wild guess is okay. Give it a shot, no problem.
Hello.
Sir, it's
Yes, sir.
the degree of how much emotion, how are we able to balance our emotions?
Very close. Anybody else? Sanjay sir started saying something, I guess.
No, sir, this is Arindam this side.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what I think is how we react to a particular situation or scenario is the emotional thing.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Emotions are how you react to a particular situation. Perfect. Okay. And what about emotional quotient?
It's a measure of our
Measure
emotional
of?
abilities.
Okay. Here, there, I bring a slight difference. It is not a measure of our emotional the emotions part. It's actually a measure of emotional intelligence. Now that's where we need to understand there is intelligence on one side, there is emotions on one side, and
Yeah,
the bridge
the
is
extent to
the
which
emotional.
we are intelligent about our emotions.
Perfect, perfect. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. Trust me, I couldn't have said it better. Nailed it on the head. But the right definition is, but it's like, how do you use your intelligence and emotions? Now, emotions can be used in input. Emotions need to be used in output. The processing part has to be with your intelligence part. That is what EQ is all about. If I can sum it up very briefly, just let me know if you can see my slide. I'm just sharing my slide share. Can you see the slides? Is it possible? Visible?
Yes, sir.
So this is
Possible,
Arindam
sir.
again. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Arvind sir.
Sir, I have a question over here. How
Please.
just what we have heard is that emotion is more related to heart, intelligence is more related to brain. Okay, so how we can collaborate between the heart and while taking a decision, I might take an emotional decision which might not be too much logical to the others. But for
Okay.
me, for that
Can
scenario, that is the decision I have taken.
Okay. Most of the panelists are faculties, or all of them are
Yes.
faculties. Okay. So let me just go a bit tangential and answer your question, but let me bring in something else which will be definitely of use to you. I'm sure everybody in this room, or most of you in this room, use or are at least aware of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay.
Yes.
So let me just tell you, we use the word by heart. You use the word heart, right? Emotions ka. I will probably, when I say by heart, is not exactly by heart. I'm bringing in a little bit of NLP or psychology, neuro-linguistic programming here. And we say subconscious mind is always active, even though my conscious mind is not active. I'll give you a classic example. When we by heart shlokas, Quran, Veda, Bible, etc. Sometimes वो by heart किया हुआ है. We say by heart किया हुआ है. But actually that is there in the subconscious mind. And it's there in the unconscious competency domain that I don't even know, but I know. For example, I'll give that example in 2 minutes time, but understand something. Shloka जब अटकता है, your conscious mind कितना भी दिमाग लगाने दो, it will not get the next word. Suppose you are telling a shloka and you forgot one particular word. You have by-hearted it without even understanding it. So in shloka in a language which you do not know, Sanskrit for example, I don't know. I have by-hearted a shloka. I get stuck somewhere, and kitna bhi I try repeat, try remembering it, my conscious mind will never get that information. I start again from the start. Or flow mein that thing will come and you will be able to do. All of you have experienced this? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
So
sir.
sir.
this
Yes,
is
sir.
why, okay, that means it's not exactly by heart means heart Allah, but the layman terms you can say what data is there in the subconscious mind that is stored permanently. But in the human body, the control is not with the conscious mind. The control is with the subconscious mind to give you data to be able to apply it. So the data is there in the subconscious mind, which I will show you in 5-6 minutes later. I'm coming to one more slide and I will show you with real-time activities and examples. You'll enjoy it. Okay, that's something which I can promise you. So by heart doesn't mean by heart. It is actually by my subconscious mind without understanding. It's L1 learning ashte, not even L2. L2 is understanding. Okay, but when I want people to think, that is where L3, L4, L5 and L6 happens. That is a cognitive thinking process starts happening where it is pure logic perspective. Okay, but processing L1, L2, L1 is purely without understanding. By hearting means it's predominantly you repeat it 10 times and it happens. Like example is, if you look at the skills ability learning curve, we start with I don't know that I don't know. A 1-year-old bacha does not know that he does not know cycling. Correct na? Because he does not even know what is cycling. So a 1-year-old kid does not know that he does not know cycling. Agreed? From there we graduate to I know that I don't know. So after 3 years, when it knows what is cycling, sees his friends cycling, or even today, there might be some people who say, I don't know swimming. They know that they don't know a particular skill. So I don't know. We graduate to I know that I don't know. Then from there, we go to the third level, which is we learn that skill, cycling, swimming, walking, etc. I know that I know. The first time we drove a cycle, we were very careful, left, right, center. First time we were walking as a kid, we will not able to recollect that. That's why I'm using an example of cycling. So first time we drove a motorbike, first time we saw a car, we were very careful, right? Because we know that we know it was at that stage. But after practice, and practice, that same skill goes into your subconscious mind, and you probably do that skill without even consciously realizing that you are doing that skill. We go to a stage where I don't know, but I know. Say walking at time when nobody says lift your right leg, put it there. Now lift your left leg, put it there. We don't do that, right? So that is where this is the skills learning curve, the matrix where we grow from I don't know to I don't know. Then I know that I don't know. I know that I know. And then we say, I know I don't know, but I still know that skill. So that's what happens in a skills curve. So that is where the by-hearting stage happens. But today, nobody is conscious when we walk. Nobody is conscious when we talk. Somebody throws a ball at you, influence a reflex action. The subconscious mind takes control and catches the ball. It doesn't do a physics calculation like this is the speed at which it is coming at me. My bat should come at this speed, 45 degrees angle. All that is calculated. It's instinctively. So when I use the word instinctively, that is what we normally say by heart. Dil se come. But actually, it is the subconscious mind which is referred to. I hope I answered that question. I went a bit tangential, but is that okay? Who asked?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let me come back to the slides, and then I'll post a couple of activities, and then we'll slowly take it up, because I think I have another 1.5 hours left, slightly short of time. Okay, so emotional intelligence is basically a person's ability to understand not only their emotions of other people, and here is where the intelligence part comes in, to process that information and act appropriately, using these emotions. So this is a combination of emotions and intelligence. That's why it's a beautiful combo. Today organizations say we want leaders who are probably very high on EI, emotional intelligence. And people who are very strong on EI also will be strong on emotions as well as IQ as well. So it's not like this is the third breed which has come in. People who are very strong IQ, if emotions get added to them and they understand human emotions better, presentation becomes better, processing of information becomes better, and they are able to not only decide, they are also able to get people to do what they want them to do. So that is the deep difference. These people will be people with high IQ to take decisions and also get people to do what they want them to do. So this is the quality that we need in leaders. So that's predominantly what it is. Very briefly, emotional intelligence works on both. It works on self. It also works on interpersonal as well as intrapersonal. Simple. If I see a situation with the right emotions, like for example, all of us would have kept New Year resolutions. Okay, let me keep the slide on so that I can explain it to the slide. It will be better. 1 second. The slide got switched off. Yeah. When I do Alt tab, it gets switched off. Okay. So basically, let us understand. We all would have kept New Year resolutions. This year, I will walk 10 from January 1st. I will walk 10 kilometers a day. Okay, that is logic. It will help me reduce my cholesterol, reduce my weight, reduce my. It's a logic. But let us honestly admit it. We all have made New Year resolutions, but kahin na kahin to we have not been successful in implemented. At least most of them. I'm not generalizing. I'm not specifying here. I'm going generalize. This is what have happened. If we take a step backward, logic does not make us kick that mood set out and start doing things. Logic is probably logic. It tells you. And for every logic, there can always be a counter logic. So what happened? That person, I know this friend, he used to walk daily, but then Corona came, he got affected, I didn't get affected. One logic to aur ek logic, why I should not walk karke. So understand, logic can always be countered with another logic, whether it is right or wrong, nobody knows, because logic can always be countered. But suppose you see somebody in your family, because of not walking or not doing exercise, had a slight problem. Immediately, the emotions start kicking in. It could be fear, it could be awareness, it could be anything. So that is where the self-awareness comes in. This self-awareness, these emotions bring about a behavioral change. So that because slowly we start getting into a self-management process, and that brings about a output change in our work or performance. It could be positive, it could also be negative. I am not here making a statement that emotions are good. There are some emotions which can bring about a positive effect. There are some emotions which can become a negative effect. But emotions bring about a change in behavior, which brings about a change in my work or my output. Similarly, from an interpersonal level, people to people management, you start understanding other people's emotions better. You start thinking, when I make this statement, what will they think about this statement? How will they take this statement? Similarly, when people behave in a particular manner, you tend to find out what is the emotions that is bringing about this behavioral change in them. So you process emotions better. So your social awareness brings about a better relationship management, and that is in a turn helping you to get people's performance also to increase. So people with high EI, not only will their performance increase, it also will improve other people's or your team members' performance also increase. This is a very simple slide, but any questions on this slide, you can still ask me. Anybody? Hello? This is dangerous. No questions means nothing asked, nothing understood. Huh?
No, sir. It's very clear.
Okay.
The explanation is very
Okay,
clear.
so let us
I
continue.
understood whatever that
So
you
now
explained.
before we go to the
Yes, sir.
next slide, one second. This is slide share is still on. Can you still see the slide?
Yes, sir. It is.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You can
sir.
see.
Yes.
Fine. Fine. Now this is a slide which I've taken from neuro-linguistic programming, which is very apt for emotional intelligence to understand how the human mind works. So this is where I want to draw a lot of time. My crux of my program will be on this slide, but of course I will be using the examples with other activities based techniques. First thing is we take input from senses. Can anybody in this room tell me how many senses do we have?
5.
5.
Sir.
Perfect. We have got 5 senses. We have got 5 senses: seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touch. This is the 5 senses. A small trivia question, quiz question. Anybody can answer this. While people are having alcoholic drink, any idea why they say cheers? Anybody?
Sir.
Wild guess? Yes, sir.
They do the cheers. It's an old tradition or old practice where people used to suspect others, and when they do cheers, drink from one glass gets into mix the other one,
Okay.
so that
That is when they use a wooden mug. That is when they use a wooden mug, so that the poison, if it is poison, that is between the chieftains of different tribes. That is from
Yes.
that perspective. Okay, I am
Yes.
talking about even a glass. Today also we do cheers. Why?
For tuning, for the tuning with his own mind, brain.
Why? Yes, you're close. You're close. Can you take it to next level? You're very close.
Because of his understanding means internal brain is just want to anchoring with that.
Okay, you're very close, but I'll just take it up from that. Basically, when people are having an alcoholic drink, 4 senses are active. They can see the drink, they can smell the drink, they can taste the drink, they can touch the drink. But this Bhai Saab, this ears, this sense was not getting activated. So the logic is all the 5 senses should be contributed and all the 5 senses should go out of senses. So that's a reason why cheers was introduced, was even this senses need to be activated. The tuning jo bolo ya activated boliye. This is actually a trivia question why cheers actually became a concept. In some places they don't touch the glass, they will actually touch the drink, and touch, because that also gets the touch sense activated. But why am I sharing you this is because if you look at this slide, we get input from five senses. The conscious mind at a point in time will get input from 1 or 2 senses only simultaneously, but the subconscious mind will take input from all the 5 senses simultaneously. So now I am going to come to the next level where processing happens. In the mind, when the data is coming inside, the processing happens, but the problem with the mind is it tends to distort information, it tends to generalize information, it tends to, and this is where emotions play a long way. Let me now come and share with you a small activity. I will tell you all a small story. At the end of the story, I will ask you a small question. Those who know the answer, please give me a thumbs up. I will not be able to check with everybody. I will pick 1 or 2 random people and they can share their answer. Is that fair enough? Don't tell out the answer. Just raise your hands on the reaction button. I will pick 1 or 2 people. Let us see how many people get this right. Okay, I'm not going to check how many people got it right, but I want to showcase something that how this mind works. So the story goes like this. A father and his son are traveling in a 2-wheeler from Bangalore to Hyderabad on the highway. I repeat, a father and his son are traveling in a 2-wheeler from Bangalore to Hyderabad on the highway. On the way, they meet with an accident. The father dies on the spot. His son is seriously injured. Villagers from a nearby village come, pick up this boy and take him to a hospital nearby. Doctor examines the boy and says, I can save him provided I do an operation on him within the next 30 minutes. But to do the operation, I need the AC in the operation theater to be working. Unfortunately, the AC is not working. The only AC mechanic in town has gone to native place and is going to come back after 5 days. If you take the boy to the hospital next town, it will take you 1 hour to reach. What to do? One villager says, doctor, yesterday in my neighbor's house, I overheard that there is an AC mechanic. Can I call this person? Doctor says yes. Villager picks up the phone, speaks to the neighbor, speaks to the AC mechanic, and the AC mechanic comes to the hospital in 5 minutes. AC mechanic checks the AC and says, I can repair this in the next 5 minutes. But before I repair, is it possible for me to have a look at the patient? Doctor takes the AC mechanic to the ward. On seeing the boy, the AC mechanic says, oh my God, this is my son. If you know the answer, why the AC mechanic said this is my son, just raise your hands. Okay, I have got a few people who are waiting for some more time. 4 people have raised their hands as of now. Okay, Manoj Kumar sir, new face. Yes sir. I hope you get the right answer. Manoj sir. Okay, Subhadra ma'am.
So the mechanic must be a mother of that son.
Mechanic was female. His mother.
Absolutely right. But a lot of people, I mean, I don't want to check out who got the right answer, who did not get the right answer. But most of us would, when I do this experiment for the first time, most of us, it's absolutely fine sometimes that we don't get the right answer. Sometimes I get nice answers like Chittappa, Chikkappa, uncle, father's, the grandfather, father, common subset and all. Sometimes I get church ka father. Sometimes I get biological father, wiki donor. So my question here is, what happened? My past experience. Let me come back to the slide. I can explain this. Yes, sir. Somebody's talking.
Yes, myself, Dr. Manoj Mishra. Sir, it is due to conditioning because we are conditioned that mechanic would be a male.
Exactly. So what happens is this distortion in the processing happens because of all these things that is shown in yellow. Say, for example, my past experiences, my memories, my values and beliefs. If I could never think that an AC mechanic can be a lady, it kind of distorts my information. For example, time and space. If somebody comes and asks you what is your name, depends upon the time and space we distort information. The same information asked in a call center where you're giving an exam, what's your name, you will give out your name. A lady is standing in the bus stop, a guy comes in a bike and asks you what's your name, we probably will think, who are you to ask me? So understand this. So this conditioning is happening. When I say conditioning, how does this conditioning happen? It happens because of the distortion that takes place because of time and space. Language also distorts information. I'll give a classic example how language is distorting. If you look at it, our grandfather's generation and above were very good with directions because they used to use directions in their language. Their language, if you ask them how to go to this uncle's place, they will say go east, go, then turn north, then go west. That's how they will give directions. Today we use right and left. Big problem. Like Alexa, U-turn mein gaadi kada hai, wo left right lene ka problem hota hai, right? Unless your gaadi is started into motion. So language also plays a very strong role in making people, in distorting this information. When I say distort to be positive, the distort to be negative. But distortion happens because of language. Past memories. As a faculty, I'll give you a simple example. One student every day comes late to class, and one guy is always prompt on class. One fine day, both people come late. Don't we think that the person who comes late daily, because of his past, we say, aaj bhi jhoot bolega, and the person who has come always on time, and that gave the excuse, we said this person always comes on time, so her reason might be valid, but we don't even check the validity, but we assume. Now, I am not here to say this is right or wrong, but I'm saying this is how the human mind works. Any questions on this, you can ask me. This is how the human mind works. The conditioning starts happening, whether you like it or not. And it's not only my mind, everybody's mind works. So any questions till now before I go complete this slide? Anybody, please ask, don't hesitate, because if you understand this, you will be able to understand people better and our emotional intelligence will definitely increase. Anybody, any questions?
Sir, my question is this, can we avoid conditioning?
No. Conditioning, you can never avoid conditioning because conditioning doesn't happen only because of you. Condition sometimes starts happening because of others also. I'll give one more example. Nokia, they made the ringtone, right? Nokia made ringtone. Even today, when Nokia ka ringtone bajta hai, don't we all remember our Nokia phone? Or we say kisi ka phone baj raha hai, or we say Nokia phone is ringing. Okay, so conditioning happens. If something is happening to you on a regular basis, a pattern gets established and that pattern starts conditioning you. I'll give you real-time examples. But yes, like you said, we should try to avoid conditioning as much as possible. How to avoid conditioning? Not doing something in a pattern formation. I'll give examples. Suppose we go to college or office daily at a particular time at a particular direction. Don't go by the same route daily to college or to your office. Because what happens if you go to the same route, the same thing, your pattern is getting established in your mind that this time, this vehicle, this time I leave my house, this is where I'm going to go. Sunday, by coincidence, if you come out of your house at the same time and you have to go somewhere else, you start the bike and unknowingly you have gone in the wrong direction for some meters and then realize, sorry, idhar kidhar ja raha hu. Happened? If happened, you can give me a thumbs up. So, I'm sure it would have happened with a lot of people. So conditioning doesn't happen only from self. Conditioning also happens because of external environment also. Advertisers condition people's minds by this, by repeating the advertisements again and again, again and again. Ringtones, logos, all these are examples of conditioning your mind. So whether you like it or not, others are conditioning you. Pavlov's law, which is ring the bell, give dog food, ring the bell, give dog food, ring the bell, give dog food. The mind of the dog gets conditioned that when the bell rings, it starts salivating, thinking food is going to come. So for the dog's perspective, the condition was from an external environment. So answer your question, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, if conditioning is not reinforced, then people will not feel going to repeat that very thing, like in case of dog. If the meats were not served, the dog will not salivate. So some reward is there.
Okay, whether it's somebody needs to mute, please. Somebody. Rekha ma'am, can you please mute? Okay. Rekha guest ma'am has to mute. Hello? Rekha ma'am, can you please mute yourself? Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. So now two things. Now these conditions get reinforced not only because of a reward system. It could happen anything. Like for example, let me give an example. Suppose a particular friend has come and whenever this, sir, I'll give you a personal experience. Sometimes when you are not going through a good time in life, you are going through a bad time in life and you get cell phone calls, which is probably not good. Okay. After a few days, whenever you get the same ringtone, your mind gets conditioned that this is bad. So you have to change your ringtone. People keep their alarm clock, music, some song which they like very much. But what happens is if they like getting up in the morning because of that song, after 1 month, that song which they liked gets reverse conditioning and they start hating that song which they used to like once upon a time and the song gets changed. Experiencer answered your question with a real time example.
Yes, it is very true example.
Okay, so it's not only with the reward. Anything that is being done to a person consistently for probably 21 days bolte hain, but 30 days lete hain, done consistently for 30 days, then the mind starts getting programmed. Like even cigarette smoking, if you understand this is the pattern. People start smoking with tea. Then the conditioning happens. Chai means cigarette, chai means cigarette, chai means cigarette, chai means cigarette. Conditioning happens. Then when they get a tea, they get addicted to, they remember a cigarette. Or sometimes this shop means this shop means this. You want to give up a habit and you go by that shop, you feel like buying it. So conditioning happens not necessarily from a reward perspective. Anything that is done again and again, conditioning gets happened. The AC mechanic example, if I change it to a driver example, I'm sure this generation would have thought the driver can be a lady also. But our generation, my generation, have never seen a lady driver in our childhood. Okay. Or a lady conductor, my parents would never have seen a lady conductor. So their mind has not seen that. So the pattern has not got exposed. So conditioning is not necessarily self-driven. It could be from the external stimuli also. But anything that happens over a consistent period of time, conditioning happens and we tend to distort, generalize, or sometimes even delete some information which we feel is not necessary. Like for example, a simple thing, I'm talking a bit dangerous stuff, but let me talk. Some religions don't allow to eat non-veg or some non-veg or a particular kind of meat. Now that is a value and belief system. So that is how my mind is getting conditioned. So I distort. According to me, eating this is not right, not wrong. Making a statement not right or not wrong is dangerous. Everything is based on the situation and the mental map that we see in. Killing somebody, is it right or wrong? I mean, you can't say killing somebody is right or wrong because it depends upon the situation. I am in the army and two terrorists are entering in. I can't say killing somebody is wrong, please enter. So it depends upon the situation. A country soldier kills a B country soldier. A country will say right job done, B country say wrong job done. So it depends upon which side you are in. But what I want to bring with this examples is, well, just hold on for a few seconds, understand what I'm bringing. So we had inputs. This input got, processed with the intelligence that we had, and that is based on our past experiences, time, attitudes, decision, values, beliefs, etc. And then it gets stored in the mind as an internal representation. Let's leave this. That's a too big a topic, so I'm not taking it. So this representation, depending upon it, brings about a change in your state of mind. This state of mind brings about a change in your physiology or body language. And this body language brings about a, which is seen as an output in the term of an action, or what sustained action we call it as behavior. Now I will give you real-time examples to understand this. Suppose I see a nice, happy, cute advertisement on Instagram, WhatsApp. What happens? Based on that, your past memory, aisa side mere saath bhi hua tha. And this representation is something very happy. So endorphins or positive dopamines kind of hormones get released, and your state of mind is something that of happiness. When it is a state of mind is something that of happiness, immediately the body language changes and you start smiling. So consistently, when you start smiling again and again, you are seen as a happy person by others. Understanding this slide, the video that you saw, or the emotion, the scene that you saw, or any input, it could not only be see, it could even hear. Something brings about a negative representation, you get a negative state of mind, your body language changes and the physiology changes, and then they say, ye aadmi hamesha aisi baat karta hai, or this guy is always like this, never smiling, always frowning, etc. So this is something which I wanted you all to understand. And the next point that I'm making is even more important from emotional intelligence perspective. What is the one thing that you see in others as your input? We see others' actions. We can never see their intentions, correct? And when two friends fight with each other, the common dialogue, which we, even I would have done it, you would have said it to your friend. Don't ask me what I did. Understand why I did this, right? We say this dialogue often, no? Why did I do it? Don't ask. Sorry, what I did, don't ask. See, understand why I did this. But the fact is, nobody can see or understand your intentions. People are only seeing our actions. So I am bringing EI in two forms. If it is myself, I need to understand that everybody of who is reacting to me, I will stop jumping to a conclusion based on their actions, but I will try to find out what is their emotions that is bringing about this actions, or what is the intention that is bringing about this action. That will make me a good person to understand those people better. And before I do an action, I will have to realize that it is my action that is going to be gauged by the others and not my intentions. So it's a two-way attack. For myself, I need to fine-tune my actions, and for others, I need to understand and give them the benefit of doubt of their intentions, or at least attempting to find their intentions. Any questions on this slide? Because this is the crux of EI. You need to understand people better. Don't gauge people on their actions. Gauge people or try to find out their intentions, which is leading to that actions. Similarly, when you are making a statement or your actions, please realize it's your actions, your words that is going to be going into their mind, not why you did this, not what is going to go into their minds, what you did at that time. Any questions on this before I start my next slide? Please ask. I hope I'm not going too fast.
Sir, my question is that when I am doing something, do I need to explain to others what is my intention?
Not exactly, but you can make sure that what is going to be, that is where my next topic is. So you are not going to, you don't need to explain them, but you should be making sure that what is going to be into their mind is not what your intention is, but why, what you are saying. And that is where I come. Can you hold on for 2 minutes? This question will get answered with the next activity.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is Mayank. Sir, can you please explain here? I think here is the realistic thing is coming for the anchoring.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Will you please explain here what is
explain
anchoring?
Example. Sir, anchoring is one more topic, but let me give this an example. Then you can ask me this question again if your question doesn't get anchored, because anchoring is one more topic which will take some more time. But I will give a realistic example of an application of what I'm talking.
We will ask further. No problem, sir. You may continue.
Okay. So let me ask you a small question to everybody in this panel. Okay. Suppose I am talking to people. There are three kind of situations. Very important thing. If we understand this, we can actually take our communication to the next level. People's people bolte, right? Okay. When to use I, when to use you, when to use he, she, they, them, there. Anybody?
First person, second person, third person.
Okay. I am not talking from a grammar perspective. I am talking from an emotion perspective. Let us stick to I. When to use we, when not to use I. I and we ke beech mein, when will you use we, when will you use I?
When I'm self-centered, then I use I.
Okay. So if a person makes I as a statement, okay. Okay, I'll give you I'll give you two comparisons, and I want you to tell me which you liked hearing. Okay, which you liked hearing. All of you think that you are doing your. I want to give a realistic example, so don't mind my example. Okay, please. I can't pagad leta starting me. Suppose all of you think that you are doing your PhD. Okay, and in your PhD report, not PhD, you are submitting a paper. You are submitting a paper with the help of a particular senior from the industry or somebody else who is from a very senior person from the industry. Together, he or she is working with you, and you are making a report. You 3-4 people in a team are making a report, and your report, your team's report, the 4 students report with the help of that guide from the external senior person gets a prize in a particular competition. Now that is known to the guide, and the guide is called you people, and I will make 2 statements as the guide external person or whatever. I make 2 statements. You tell me as candidates, which did you like hearing? Okay, I'm same dialogue. I will tell 2 times, once with I, once with we, and you tell me if you were real-time role play into that candidate's position, which you liked hearing as a candidate. Guys, we did it. Fantastic job we did, man. Same dialogue, second time. Guys, you did it. Fantastic job you all did. Which did you like hearing? I won, we won, or you won? Which one? You. Understand this. The dialogue, English wise, logic wise, intelligence wise, both are the same. Because this gentleman was also part of the project. So nothing wrong in saying we. But when as an emotions that come through, when this gentleman said, guys, you all did it, acha laga sunne ko. Even though he's part of it, he did not take credit. He gave the credit fully to people. Correct? So don't you think as the recipient's perspective, it is nice to hear you as a perspective? Everybody agreeing with this? Now it doesn't mean you will use you always. Okay. You need to know when to use I, when to use we. So are you all clear when to use you?
Yes,
I need some answers. Okay, fine. There is one more reason, one more time you should use you. When you are delegating work. Some people while delegating work use we. Say, I'll give you another statement. We have a deadline to complete this project before day after tomorrow. You do this part, you do this part, you do this part, you do this part is the right way to delegate work. Now I will say the same thing, and you understand your responsibility level will come down. Guys, we have a deadline to complete this task before day after tomorrow. We have to complete this before tomorrow, this before tomorrow, this before tomorrow, this before tomorrow. Now understand the second one, it is kahin na kahin to because this person used we, there was no need that your acceptance towards the project or your responsibility towards the project got reduced. Understanding the words play a very strong role in emotions. Understood when to use you? When you are delegating work or you are sharing praises or credits, always use you. Is this you part clear? Can I have a thumbs up if everybody is in sync with me? And I know that some people are there. Okay, fine. I'm getting a few thumbs ups. Good. Okay. Now let us understand when to use we. Okay. When to use we. I'll give you real-time examples. Now, all this is how I'm thinking, like if I say this is how impression will go into the other person's mind, and I'm checking my processing and I'm bringing a choice of words which is differently. Now, this is the ma'am, what Shalini ma'am, sorry. Yes, sir. Hello. Hello, somebody has to mute, please. Okay, thank you. Where was it? Yeah. Now let us understand when to use we, and we should not use you. For example, I am shouting at some students. Okay, I'll give you real example, then I'll bring an example which is related to us also. I am a faculty and I'm talking to students, and I feel that the generation, today's generation, are not serious about their career and they might suffer. So I'm giving them a gyan. Okay, gyan means some bashing. Okay, so I'm giving them a lecture on making them serious in life. I will tell two things. You decide, if you were students, which you liked hearing. Guys, if you don't study well, you will not get a job and you will suffer in life. Same dialogue. Guys, if we don't study well, we will not get a job and we will suffer in life. Look at this. I don't need a job, but the fact that I used we, I actually went with them, and the buffering happens and the thought process becomes clear. They don't feel animosity towards me. If I give you a real example, suppose most of you are probably senior than me as well. So, but if I have to say something where I beg to differ, okay, so then I use the word, sir, I beg to differ. If we do this, don't you think this might affect our campaign in something like emotional intelligence? Now I'm using the word be, it gets buffered down. Only my point of view goes to the other person. Understanding when to use we. Whenever you want to be part of that person's identity to give something which is not easily going to be accepted, always use we. From an emotional intelligence perspective, your communicating level will become, the acceptance level increases. There, if you use you increase the space psychologically between two people, and they tend to not take what you told seriously. Understanding when to use we. Anybody, any questions?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay. Okay. I will always be used. Just give me 1 second. I'll switch on the fan. It's a bit too. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I will always be used when you want to take responsibility. Wahan par we mat bol dena. Let us do this. Again, two dialogues. You understand the impact. Let us do this. Whatever happens, we will take care of it later. Let us do this. Whatever happens, I will take care of it later. Which did you like hearing? If I am your boss. Let us do this. Whatever happens, we will take care of it later. Let us do this. Whatever happens, I will take care of it later. Which did you like hearing?
I will take care.
Because udhar mein we dal dega to people become skeptical. Arey yaar, isme we aa gaya hai. So understand this. Responsibilities, you will always use I. So understood the power of words. See, these might sound like simple English words in grammar, but the dialogue, just by changing one word, look at the emotional impact that is coming on the other person. Understanding this is where EI presentation perspective say how the choice of words can actually make you a people's person. It is not the thought process alone which makes a person a people's person. It is how you present your words, which also brings about a huge impact in other people accepting what you say. Everybody getting the hang of it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have
Any
one
questions?
query.
Good. Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
Sir, it is good that we listen to such type of sentences as boss saying I will take care of it and all. But my real life experience said that many a time boss don't take responsibility and they delegate it to somebody else. So what should be done in such cases?
Okay, ma'am, I'll be blunt to put it. Okay, the first is this program is not conducted for your boss, no, ma'am. It is conducted for us, no. So it is we who need to change, right, ma'am? Let us change so that the things will become better from our team onwards below.
How to handle, in an emotionally intelligent way, such type of bosses? To ask that way.
Okay, so you wanted to ask that. So can you always are asking me a question one slide before what I am coming from. Can you hold on for 2 minutes? The next activity is how to convince people against their conviction. जब किसी को convince करना है, कैसा convince करना है, वो मैं बताऊंगा आपको. Hold on for 2 minutes. But question on, okay, now if you understand this, when I was talking, I use the word us, I use the word we, I never use the word you. Did you notice that? Or recording hai, aap check kar sakte ho. I use the word, ma'am, this program is not for our bosses, ma'am, it is for us, no, ma'am. So we need to change, ma'am. See, I could have said this for not for the bosses, you need to change, you need to this thing. But if I had used you in this case, you would have taken me, ye bolna aasan hai, karke dikhao, right? That kind of thing would have happened. So please understand consciously, If you put empathize with the other person, always think about the other person, automatically these words come consciously. And if you practice it for 1 to 2, 3 months time now, then it becomes very natural. And I've experienced this and I do this. That's why I'm able to say this. So how to convince people against their conviction, how to handle tough people, hold on for 5-10 minutes. That's the next activity which we'll be doing. Jitna ho sakta main karunga. Okay. But any questions on IUV anybody else has got, you can ask. Nobody? Okay. Next comes when to use third person. They, them, she, they, he. Anybody? When do you use third person in a talk? Hello? Somebody has to mute. Shruti ma'am, please can you mute yourself? Okay, thank you. Yeah, anybody else? When to use third person? When do you use third party? English grammar wise, third party. Okay, nobody? Okay, let me only give the example then.
When we are talking of other people.
Come again,
Whenever
somebody
we
was
are talking about other people on the other side, I mean, they are not with you. And
give me an example. Can you give me an example?
Like maybe we all staff gossiping about our boss.
Illa. Okay, no. No. Okay, I'll make it very simple. When I don't want, come again. Somebody said something.
May I give an example?
Please.
For example,
please. Thank you.
During the sports festival, for example, the authority, the principal, and the staff have assigned the job to the sports coaches to lay down and keep the ground ready. Then they have assigned a job to them. Can it be the third party?
No. I am okay. You, that is grammar wise, what you said is perfectly fine. But I am not here focusing on the grammar or the English part of it. This can be any language. My question was simple. Like, I can use this with third party. I can use this with first person, second person also. But when should I consciously not use I or you? When should I not consciously use you or we also? That is where I'll give an example. It will become very clear. I'm running short of time as well. Okay. So let me give an example. Suppose I want to make a very dangerous statement and I don't want emotions to come across while talking. I don't want emotions to come. That is the time when I will not use words like I, you, or we. Why? Because I and you and we are words which carry emotions. Because it is first person or second person. The meaning itself, first or second, means it carries emotions. Third person doesn't carry emotions. I'll give you real-time examples. Suppose I have been they have invited me in a TV channel to talk on a topic. Okay, understand this. Okay, and the topic is very controversial. This kind of meat should be allowed to eat by this religion. A topic. Okay, I will tell it to you in third party, and in your mind, I want you to put I, me, myself wherever I put third party. Got it? And you see how the meaning changes. How when I say the statement, emotions only will come through. Logic will only come through. Emotions will not come. But the moment you replace wherever I put third person as I, you, I, me, myself, immediately the meaning will change. Logic will go for a toss, and people will start probably coming with swords. Okay, think about the topic which I'm saying. I'm using a very harsh example because if you can understand the impact that it is creating in this example, look at the impact it will create on smaller examples, which I will come and share with you. Look at this. If a person's religion allows a person to eat a particular kind of meat, what is wrong in that person eating that meat? Now I have made a very dangerous statement, but I used full third person. If a person's religion allows the person to eat a particular kind of meat, what is wrong in that person eating that meat? Is dialogue mein you just put if my, I'm not going to say that statement, it is getting recorded, but understand the impact that word I use, my or you, the impact that it created. Don't you think hardcore emotions came through people when you put my and myself in the other person, somebody makes a statement in front of you? Agree, understood where I'm coming from? If you didn't understand, then I don't know, because it's a very important example which I shared. Understood? Did not understand?
Understood.
Okay. Understand the impact. So third person is always used when you don't want logic to come through. For example, now I'll come to easier examples. Suppose there is a discussion happening in your college, okay, whether jeans and t-shirt should be allowed in college, and think that we are students. There's one more example which came to my mind just now. Think that we are students and the principal has called all the students and said, guys, should we allow jeans and t-shirt in the college? And if one student raises the hand and tells, sir, if I feel comfortable wearing jeans, what is your problem in me wearing jeans? Now look at the emotions that come through. Principal will ask you, what is your roll number? Okay, jokes apart. But the same dialogue, if I had used third party, the logic will only come through, emotions will not come through. Sir, if a person is comfortable wearing jeans, what should be any college's problem? I'm using the word any college, not even our college. What should be any college's problem in allowing that person to wear jeans? Can you see this impact? The previous one, if I am comfortable wearing jeans, what is your problem in me wearing jeans? If a person is comfortable wearing jeans, what should be any college's problem wearing jeans? Can you see the impact? Understood when to use third person, when to use first person, when to use second person, when to use third person. Any questions on this, please ask me before I go to the next topic. Please ask, because if people don't ask questions, I don't feel I have done justice. Hello?
Understood.
Okay, anybody else with any questions?
So basically
Archana?
we are using the third person when we are not trying to have a more impact on that particular thing.
No,
Like
no,
the
when
other
I don't
person-
want emotions. I don't want emotions to go through.
The generalized version.
Yes, generalized version. See, basically मुझे सिर्फ logic पे खेलना है. मुझे सिर्फ logic पे. I want to fight only on the basis of my logic. Because the moment I put I or you, logic will go a bit on the side stepped, and it will become on, you are saying this because you are doing this.
You are doing it, right? Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right? So that I want only to fight on logic. So when I'm countering people on logic, especially debates, it's always better to use third person. When there's an argument going on, never bring in IU emotions. Because, for example, I'll give you an example. Like Ramesh is a student who is coming daily late to the class. I gave this example previously. Now, when this example, if I tell, say, give me one student's name who always comes late to your class. One student's name.
Anybody, sir. Sairaj.
Give me a name.
Sairaj.
Sairaj. Now understand. Suppose if I tell you, ma'am, if Sairaj has come one day late to the college, is it okay? No, immediately because I use Sairaj and Sairaj is known to you, an emotion came to you.
He should not be allowed. But if other person would have.
But if I say, ma'am, if a boy wants to come one day late to college, is it okay?
And maybe other person who is regular.
So understood this. When I brought in the second word in third person, the logic only went through. The emotion did not come. But the moment I use the word Sairaj, even though it is third person, but there's an emotion attached with that person's name because of your past experiences.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank
so it's not only to buffer down or impact reduction nahi hai. It could be used depending upon what you want to use it for. But if the funda is simple, logic mein khelna hai, use third person.
Okay.
Got it?
Thank you.
Can we go further? Okay. Now comes the most interesting part of today's activity, and then I'll spend some time on the case study that I shared. I'm sure a lot of faculties consult people to understand EQ from a presentation perspective and how to create an impact. How can anybody convince people? Okay, anybody in this audience who does not like a particular actor? Anybody who hates a particular actor? Ye actor मेरे को पसंद नहीं है. गलती से भी I will not watch that person's movie. Anybody? I want him or her to volunteer for 5 minutes or something. Anybody can do a role play? Sanjay sir? Raise your hand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Archana ma'am, you can do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Archana ma'am, which actor do you not like?
Salman Khan.
You don't like him? Okay, fine. Off the record statements. Okay. Now, I'll give 2 minutes time because I'm extremely short of time. I'll give you 2 minutes time to anybody, they have to convince Archana ma'am to watch a Salman Khan movie. Anybody? Sharmila ma'am? 2 minutes आपके पास है. Can you convince Archana ma'am to watch a Salman Khan movie? Remember something? No sama dama danda beda. You should not bribe. You should not blackmail. You should not. No, she should watch the Salman Khan movie on her own free will. Anybody wants to give it a shot? That's okay. I'll do it in 2 minutes. But make it tough for her also. Make it tough for me also.
Sir, I also don't like Salman Khan.
But no, that's okay. आप कैसे convince करोगे that let us learn? Anybody, Arindam sir, you want to give it a shot? Arpita ma'am.
Sir, it's not possible in a instant, sir. कि एक क्षण में संभव नहीं है सर.
सर मैं करूंगा सर 2 मिनट में.
आप hypnotize करेंगे सर.
Hey, listen. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. I'll tell you a simple process, step by step process करूंगा. And if you start practicing that process, trust me, you will be able to. शर्मिला जी ने मुझे जो क्वेश्चन पूछा था ना, शर्मिला मैम ने कि बॉस लोग कैसा दिया तो कैसा आंसर करना है. It's a very simple process. If you understand the process perspective. So anybody wants to show? Yeah, Arindam sir, try कीजिएगा ना 2 मिनट में. Try कीजिएगा.
Sir, trying.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Yes,
I think I have to. I think I have to tell her more of negatives than she is aware of, so that she gets attracted.
No, you start. You start. Go by your thought process. You go by your thought process.
Ma'am, do you like action movies?
No, sir.
You don't like action movies, so you like songs, films which has good songs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and do you like to visit new places?
Yes, of course.
Definitely outside the country also, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I can tell you about an actor whose films have good songs, it has good lyrics, as well as you would be able to see new places across the world. Would you like to give it a try?
Okay, sir.
Fantastic, fantastic, sir. You did a lot of things right. You did a lot of things right. But I do not know if you know the process perspective chunking up. You did a lot of process right. But the normal process, because I would give more people a chance to try, but then मेरा time limit बहुत कम है and I have a lot of things to cover. Okay, so Arindam sir did something absolutely right, which I'll share it from a process perspective. So before we start, one very good thing Arindam sir did was he was asking questions. Understand the power of questions. When we ask questions, the person has to answer. So when the person has to answer, okay, that person has to think. So which means you can sow seeds of change in people's minds by only asking questions. The moment we start telling you should watch Salman Khan movie because he has done a lot of charity, उसका पैसा में से इतना पैसा charity को जाता है, उनका shutter down हो जाता है. And that person will not even listen to what you are saying. He'll be just waiting for you to finish. Probably, suppose if it's a student and that student is not studying and we are counseling him, we normally give gyan. You should do this, otherwise this will happen, that will happen, that will happen. The student is probably not even listening to you, waiting for that thing. And maximum that student will be saying, sir, I will study from next time, sir. I will study from next time, sir. Ye bolke, he is just waiting for you to leave the shutter down. Nothing is going inside his mind. So all of you agreeing, asking questions is a better way. I'm sure everybody will agree. That's not a problem here. Now there are two types of questions. Two types of classifications of questions. One classification I'm sure everybody knows, which is open-ended and closed-ended. I will just repeat it for repetition perspective. Open-ended questions are those questions which are descriptive in nature, and closed-ended questions are those which are option MCQ, A, B or C, A, B, C or D. Choices are there and you pick one or two. So basically choices given. Both have a usage. Now that is where I want to spend some time, which is when do you ask open-ended questions? When do you ask closed-ended questions? Can anybody answer? Wild guess? Anybody?
When we want precise answers, we go for closed-end questions.
Precise can you give precise means? Precise means
within a given framework. You don't want to explore, you don't want to innovate, you don't want to be creative. When it's a descriptive based study, descriptive based research, you want to describe the characteristics. Then you go for
when do you want to have a descriptive question based?
When you know the hidden emotions, hidden feelings, hidden thoughts, you go for open-ended.
Fantastic. The open-ended part perfectly fine. Can you go deeper into why closed-ended questions? Why you want
open-ended questions are asked to know hidden emotions, hidden feelings.
Open-ended thumbs up. Perfectly fine. Open-ended perfectly fine.
Okay. Closed-ended questions are asked where there is some quantification needed, or you want to have a statistical survey, statistical study.
Okay.
When you want to.
Okay, it is right. It is right. But
Statistically.
okay, I will put it this way. If a person gives you a closed-ended question, question. Yes,
Hello?
yes, somebody said. Yes, yes,
Can
yes.
can I answer?
Yes, please.
So, for example, if people who don't want to give elaborative answers, who are restricted to only yes or no, that's it. For such people who requires crisp answers.
No.
Okay.
That's totally different ball game. Okay.
Okay.
Suggestion was kind
Sir,
of close of the open.
may I answer this? I mean,
Okay, last
in what position we are? I mean, whether we are senior or subordinate. It also depends on that.
No. Okay, no. Okay, hold on. We are running short of time, so let me give.
Closed-ended questions are asked where the response is.
There is a specific information.
Where there is a specific information expected.
Perfect. Now you are coming closer. Let me give you real-time examples and you will understand this. When I want information, always ask open-ended questions. Like that's what he said, hidden emotions. I want information. Always ask open-ended questions. Like what kind of movies do you watch? What kind of what is your career plan? Interview, my first question always ask this, tell me something about yourself. All these are descriptive kind of answers where I want information. But closed-ended question पूछने से you don't get information. Let me show you the real-time example. Suppose if I were to ask a person, do you like Shah Rukh Khan or do you like Salman Khan? Even if that person says Shah Rukh Khan, I still don't know whether he really likes Shah Rukh Khan because in these two options he picked that one. So information seeking ke time pe never ask closed-ended question. Agreeing with this? Information closed-ended questions, wrong question to ask. Agreeing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when to ask closed-ended question? When you want to guide them and bring them along with you, that is where you use closed-ended questions. Suppose you got informations and now you want this person to come in line with you, accept what you are saying. So you start asking beautiful, well-drafted closed-ended questions. I'll give you an example. When you buy a cell phone, when you go to a cell phone shop and after you like the phone and all, they will ask you a nice closed-ended question. Sir, do you like to buy, so would you pay by cash or card? Cash or GPay? Now understand the power of this closed-ended question. आप cash बोलो या GPay बोलो, sale तो हो गया ना. When I fix up appointments with people, I say, sir, I'm coming to Bagalkot. Can I meet you tomorrow or day after tomorrow? They will pick one date. They will maximum pick day after tomorrow. But understand something, sir, I would like to meet you. Sir, is it possible for me to meet? Please call me next week. I want this person to come with me where I want them to come. Always use the power of closed-ended questions. Both are equally important. Starting of the conversation, you need informations, you need to capture emotions, you need to understand how this person's thinking, empathetic listening. So open-ended questions. Towards this thing, now you are going to start convincing this person. So we start using closed-ended questions. Okay. Now let us come to the second classification. Open-ended questions, one classification. Second classification is chunking up, chunking down. This is a psychological term. Forget the term, understand the term, that is more than enough. Chunking up, chunking down. Let us understand what this means. And if you can understand this and start practicing it, trust me, your convincing capabilities of people will tremendously increase. So if you have any questions, please ask me once I'm done with this activity. Okay. Now, let us understand what is chunking up and what is chunking down with a simple example. Suppose I make a statement. This is a pen. एक statement है. Chunking down question का मतलब है any question that is a subset of this statement. Like I say, what is the color of this pen? What is the color of the ink of this pen? Which company's pen is this? Whose pen is this? All these things, you can understand it's a chunk, it's the subset of the statement. This is a pen. Understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us understand chunking up. So basically, if I'm going down and I'm going narrower, then it is chunking down. Chunking up means I am going broader and I am going wider and I am going above. Like for example, this is a pen was a statement. Suppose if I ask a question, what are the things that people use to write? It could be pen, paper, pen, ink, charcoal, paint, rangoli, anything. So in that, pen is a small subset. So basically I went broader and I went above. So understood both chunking up, chunking down. Okay. Now Arindam sir's first question क्या था? Arindam sir, what was your first question? Do you like action movies? Correct, na sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that a chunking up question or a chunking down question? Anybody?
It was more of a chunking down.
No.
Like chunking up.
Chunking up. If you had asked a question, why don't you like Salman Khan? It is chunking up.
Okay, sir.
But you asked a question which was not at all related to Salman Khan. You asked a question, do you like action movies? Chunking up. Got it?
Yes.
Was it an open-ended question or was it a closed-ended question?
Close-ended, sir.
So basically you asked me a question, chunking up to closed-ended question, correct?
Yes, sir.
So when we start the discussion, we always should start with open-ended, chunked up questions. Understood?
Okay, sir.
It serves two purposes. One, I know I want information, and see, why don't you like Salman Khan is a open-ended, chunked down question.
Okay, okay, sir.
Open-ended tha, but chunked down tha. Now what I do, anybody can make it tough for me. Arindam sir, you want to play the volunteer, like you don't like Salman Khan, and make it very tough for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you make it very tough for me, and I will give you the process which I am following. Then because Archana ma'am ne bahut aasani se aapko maan liya. You make it very tough for me. Okay, and I will tell you the process. In the end, what will happen is you might accept, not accept, but I will be sowing enough seeds of change in you. That's what is going to happen. Okay, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what I'm going to do on the camera, I am going to show to the audience and you what I am doing, chunking up or chunking down. This is chunking down, this is chunking up, and this chunking up and chunking down with respect to my previous question, not with the initial statement that you don't like Salman Khan. Got it?
Right, sir.
Okay, so start. Sir, what kind of movies do you watch, sir?
Chunking up.
No, don't. I'm giving you this answer, but no, I want him to answer the question, so I'm going to convince him in a step-by-step process. Yeah.
I usually like comedy movies.
So you give importance to story in a movie. From the previous question, I have chunked down. You give importance to a story in a movie, sir?
Yes, definitely. It should have a little storyline. But
so how much percentage?
Even if the story has around 25 to 30%, I'm fine with it.
So how much importance to those do you give to story in a movie? Chunking down. Out of 100, how much?
25.
Give me a number, sir. One number you give me. 25 or
25%.
Okay, 25% for the story. Is comedy part of the story or is it extra other than the story, sir?
It should be inbuilt within the story.
Okay, so you have 75% extra for a movie. What do you give that 75% for, sir?
It should have good. The quality of the comedy should be good. That's the 75% I would go
so
for.
Okay, so basically 25% for the story and 75% for the comedy that is in sync with it.
Yes.
So if I suggest you a movie which is fantastic on story and comedy, would you watch it?
It would also depend on who all are the cast.
But 100% ho gaya na, sir?
100% ho gaya, but
that's 0% na.
But the thing is, I know some of the people who try to do comedies are not good at comedies.
Fantastic. So if the character is very good in comedy, would you watch it, sir?
Yes, that would depend what has been my past experience, and if that person, few people fall under the comedy section for me.
So is it so? That means you are not giving importance to the comedy, or giving importance to the actor. If a particular character has done great justice to the comedy role, would you watch that movie, sir?
I would.
Okay, I'll suggest you a movie, even though it might be Salman Khan. It is Andaz Apna Apna. For even I don't like Salman Khan, but that movie is actually done a fantastic job. Okay, it's very tough acting like okay, anyway, but understand the process.
But then it has Aamir Khan in it.
Okay, anyway, but what the process that you follow is you always chunk up, find a common ground, and then start chunking down. You will be able to hit base. But if we start by chunking down, you will never find a common ground. If I go and ask you a question, why don't you like Salman Khan? You tell me hundreds of reasons why you don't like Salman Khan. Trust me, I cannot find even one reason inside that to make you watch a Salman Khan movie. Agree?
Yes, sir.
And now I'm asking you all a question. When students come, when you counsel students, what is the first question you ask to a guy who does not study well?
Why you don't study?
Understanding the challenge.
Yes, sir.
So aaj ke baad, please, when you're doing counseling, never chunk down, always chunk up. Ask him what you want to become in life. Where do you see yourself after 5 years? What is your career plan? Let him say, I want to make a movie. You can still find a connection between making a movie and studies. But you can never make a connection between why he does not want to study and why he should study. So understand, chunk up, broader level pay, find a common ground, then start chunking down. Understanding chunking, the power of chunking up questions. And then once you find that common ground, then you can start asking closed-ended chunking down questions to get that person to come with you, like we did in this case. Got it? Any questions anybody has? Please ask. Please ask, please ask, please ask. No questions? Okay. Now I will take a few more people's thought process. How many people have read the case study which was given to you all?
So myself, I've read, sir.
Okay, fine. So I have 2 questions there. Before we start, first I want to ask one question, and anybody can unmute and speak systematically one by one after one. If you were Satish, the character who got blasted by George, how will you take it? And don't tell me if you're talking about Satish, I want to know what would be your emotions when George was blasting, and after George said sorry to you, what would be Satish's emotions like? So that is both you have to cover. Anybody wants to start?
Sir, I would like to start.
Yes, sir. Sanjay, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely there will be emotional boil. If I were Satish, my emotions will boil up. There is no doubt at that moment, because I was new to the position. And after that episode happened, there was an apology. Probably my emotions will roll back and come to neutrality. So there is a roller coaster ride that we all undergo.
And would you George as a person, would you look up to him or look down to him, or would you still be neutral?
Probably I will look down upon him thereafter.
Why, sir?
Because the way in which the ice was broken, there were initial cracks in it. So the ice wasn't broken in the manner it should have been.
Okay.
So that really sets the stage for further building to be built and further relations to be carried forward.
Okay, fine. Anybody else? Same question.
So George was being a senior leader, was not performing his role.
Sir, one second. My question is, if you were Satish, what would be your emotions when you are being blasted, and what would be your emotions after George said sorry to you? That's the question first. We will come to George's case question later. This is the question which I have not put in the case study. I am asking this upfront.
You see, it's a very natural when a person who is very new to a system is not very familiar with the system. When he is exposed of such type of events, definitely the emotion will be broken down. So what instances have been taken place was astonishing. But after that, when George apologized, he simply tried to just settle down the matter. Means initially might be why you have done all these things. So definitely the George means initially the emotion is broken down. Then when the apology has been taken place, then things are settled down. But after going through the case study, it is not expected such a behavior from the George, because George is occupying a leading position. So George should behave in a very proper manner. He should try to establish the emotion in a very balanced manner. Like before knowing the situation, and he simply blasts on Satish, he should know the entire story. So it is not appropriate behavior adopted by George, according to me.
Okay. In that case study, there is one line which is written. I'm just reading it out. It is my mistake that I did not recollect that you were new to the job when I was questioning you. Satish was left speechless. That line, does it show that Satish was in awe of George, that George accepted his mistake? That word which I put there specifically, Satish
Definitely,
wasn't.
no boss would have done in that manner. No,
Come again.
many of them would not have done in that manner, as George said. Like maximum people, they would not have accepted their mistake anyway.
Okay. So, okay,
At
fine.
that post.
Okay. Now my question is, George, let us analyze George's character. Where do you think George, what kind of character is George? If anybody were to analyze some new people.
George is too much. George is spontaneous. You cannot predict the behavior of George. It is bit difficult the behavior.
Okay, okay.
Bit difficult to predict the behavior.
Okay. Anybody else?
He's kind of totally work-oriented guy.
Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Okay, he's basically a job-oriented taskmaster. वो काम कर निकालना जानता है. Okay, fine. Anybody else?
Bossy.
Bossy. Okay. Anybody else?
He's a generous management guy.
Generous का मतलब?
Sir, it is of if I do mistake, I'm ready to accept that, and if I do good things is also okay. So such a kind of person. So we can call him as a generous person.
Okay. So can you trust George? Can you trust George? Can you trust George?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
How many people say I can trust George, even though he might be rude, but I can trust George? I'm using an emotion term here. Trust. How many people will trust George? Anybody? Anybody who will not trust George? And I want to know why. All of you will trust George?
Sir, because he holds the position as manager, he is counted with results. So ultimately he want to be loyal to the management. Accordingly, he behaved, and for his mistake also, he is ready to apologize with the junior candidate. So I'm very happy with the George character.
Okay, now I have a question to everybody, and I want everybody to give me a thumbs up. Okay, I'm going to do a thumbs up count. Everybody should genuinely give me a thumbs up. Okay, if you are started your own firm, you start a big startup. Okay, Bhagwan kare, Allah kare, Khuda kare, Jesus kare. You start a big successful company. You are the CEO. You are the CEO of your company. How many people will hire George as the vice president in their company? Give me a thumbs up if you will hire George as your vice president. One.
No, sir, I will never appoint George-like person.
Okay, as your vice president. Okay. Anybody else who will hire, who will not hire? I want to have a hand count. If you will hire, give me a thumbs up, please. I'll take answers later. One second. I want only one person is voting. Others have left. Am I that boring? Devajini 1, Mahapatra ma'am. Archana 3. Okay, how many people will not? Okay, how many people will not hire George in your company as vice president? खुद का company में you want this taskmaster George kind of characters in your company. If you will not hire, vote now. अरे किसी के लिए तो वोट करना है ना. हाँ, शैला मैम, वरप्रसाद मैम. Okay. Why would you not hire? There are 3 people who said why. Shaila ma'am, Varaprasad sir, and Mayank. Why will you not hire George?
Sir, behavior of Mr. George is not professional, sir. Because of he affected with the situation and can't able to control their own feelings and other things.
Okay. Okay. So, but I have a question, sir. Do you want in your company a vice president who is just based on your arguments? Okay, I'm not putting in my words. We will come to my points later. In your company, do you want somebody who can get job done, or you want somebody who is professional but probably cannot get job done? Your company, man, as vice president, you are the boss. You are going to become George's boss.
No, sir, I will never behave like that.
No, you didn't understand my question. I'm saying in your company, do you want this kind of people to run your company so that they are taskmasters? They know what to do. They know how to get job done.
Sir, in these days, only taskmaster is not enough, sir.
Okay, fine. Hold on.
Sir, he is not a taskmaster alone. And at the same time, he's a people-oriented leader too. because while he done a mistake, he's ready to accept it. So we want to consider him as both a task-oriented and as well as people-oriented person.
Sir, I am from industry, sir, and having a 20 years experience, we never like this type of directors and other presidents.
Exactly. I'm coming to your point, sir. एक मिनट रुको. अभी आपने जो dialogue मारा ना sir, ये you are looking at George being your boss, correct ना sir? मेरा statement not George being your boss का नहीं था. अगर आप boss हो, आपका खुद का कंपनी में आपको जॉर्ज जैसा लोग चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए? मैं अंडरस्टैंड, प्लीज
नहीं चाहिए सर, नहीं चाहिए सर, मुझे अगर मैं मालिक हूं फिर भी नहीं चाहिए.
Stick to that. I will respect it. Stick to that. No problem. Yes, but don't bring that. I have dealt with bosses who are like this, and that is why I don't want in my company. That is the emotions are still not that of a CEO. The emotions are that of the George's subordinate. So that is where the emotional disconnect happened. That's why I said hold on. But I respect your points. Shaila ma'am, you raise your hands. In your company, why don't you want George as a vice president? Shaila ma'am, Shaila D.
Hello, namaste sir.
Namaste ma'am.
I don't want him because he's emotional. The manager should not be an emotional person.
Okay. So if George was not emotional, you would have hired him?
No, not. If he is not, every person is in some aspects, he will be emotional. But he has to think the situation and then he has to act according to that.
So what makes you think that George did not act according to the situation?
In that situation, he abused that Satish, and then later he applies that, but it should not be like that. Okay. But actually that hurts the Satish.
I got it. Now let me bring in a totally different perspective. Now when we talk about emotional intelligence, there are three factors. Till now we spoke about one factor, which was on what I say, how it is going to go to the other person. That is where I gave a lot of examples on chunking up, chunking down, I, you, we, they and all, correct? I gave you examples on what I say, how is it going to be understood. There is one more aspect in emotional intelligence is understanding other person, how to understand the other person's intentions from their actions, correct? Now, this is equally important. That's why I showed you the slide. Input for others. When I'm evaluating others, I need to try to understand what is their thought process, what they are thinking, what is their intentions, rather than what their actions is. Somewhere, we didn't even give the benefit of doubt to George. We kind of, from George's actions, we started gauging, we started based on our past perceptions, we started throwing in light about George's nature, character, that he is impatient, he is a taskmaster, this way or that way. He is a generous person, he is rude, he is emotional. All these statements were made without even taking a few more time to analyze why would George have done this. That's my first point to contention. Agreeing with me? We went and we judged a person based on that person's action. Agreeing with me? Say yes.
Hello? Yes, sir.
Yes.
So we all judged George based on his actions, but we did not take a step backward to understand and find out whether this person was, what could have been the intentions. Now, I am not saying that my thought process is going to be right or wrong. What you said could also have been right. But first thing is, when I am gauging and going to make a decision, my input on George should start from a lot of things. The first thing is there any reason why George could have behaved the way he behaved? And then with this thought process, if I start reading the case study again, probably new dimensions start coming. I will throw in a list of dimensions. First and foremost, some people said George forgets. George forgot. George himself said he forgot. Okay, by the way, George forgot that this guy was new. Now understand what kind of meeting is this. This is a review meeting, which means it probably happens once a month or once in 2 months or maximum once in 3 months. And everybody is not invited. Only general manager levels are invited. And even Satish was not invited. He filled in as a stopgap arrangement. That means maximum in across the big company in India, 20-30 people will be there. Agree, not more than 20-30 people. And these people probably meet once in 2-3 months regularly. Do you think George would not have noticed that there was a new face? Start thinking. Then let us go one step backward. If George knew that Satish was new, is there any reason? I'm not saying this is not the right way or wrong way. I'm just giving the benefit of doubt to George. Just because if I have to understand a character, I have to put myself in that shoes. So if why would George have still done this and blasted Satish? Probably one more thought process. George wanted to blast 2 other seniors in the same room, but he understood the consequences that if I blast those 2 seniors in the room, okay, what might happen? They probably will take offense. They might leave the organization. The impact of that would be very strong. So he decided a strategy that I'm going to blast any small guy and get my message across to the other persons from an emotional perspective, from a logical perspective, that boss, this is actually to you, but I'm using this guy as a ruse. And then immediately after doing this hitting of George, abusing of George, immediately he did not want even Preet to know about this. He asks Preet, was I harsh on this kid? So Preet also thinks George was really felt that he did a mistake and he wants to apologize. And he apologized to the Satish immediately. I am not saying that the strategy is right, the strategy is wrong, but I am just, on this case study, I am looking at it from a different perspective, that why is it that I am not giving the benefit of doubt to George? The reason why I didn't give the benefit of doubt to George was because of George's action and my past interpretation. I have already made up my mind and I only justify my action. Think about it. Could this also not have been a strategy? What I said, I'm open for discussions. Could this also not have been a strategy?
That's
Yes.
why I said George is bossy, because as a boss he know how to get the work done from others and whom to criticize, whom not to criticize. That's why I said he was bossy.
Bossy is a vague term, but still I understood what you said right now with your explanation. But understand
George
this.
applies his but insulted in common in meeting.
Exactly. I'm not debating on it. I'm not saying that George is wrong, George is right. I don't want to make a value-based judgment at all. If at all at the end of this session, one takeaway that we all should take is, until I know the absolute truth, let us not jump to making a decision about somebody based on their actions. That is what I want to first bring to the table. This case study was not to find out whether George was right, George was wrong. But I am saying that we did not even give benefit of doubt to George. Let's like the student of Sai Prasad who comes late in the class. वो action से हमने image बना लिया कि ये ऐसा है. Sometimes this character resembled one of our bosses, so immediately we put this guy as that guy, and we start, seeing the case study from that person's perspective. So first thing which I want to, the case study's objective was not to understand whether George was right or wrong. Though the questions were framed in that manner, the objective of giving this case study in this discussion was only to bring about one point, that let us not gauge people by their actions, but also think about different processes, why they would have taken this decision, and then check, is there some validation? If this was the case, is there some is this a good strategy? Is this a good thought-provoking strategy considering the emotional impact that it is carrying? Because at the end of the day, if there are 2 people, senior people in my company, and I want to give a message to them loud and clear, and at the same time, I don't want to have any repercussions effect, Satish can always be managed as a lower new employee, blasted, said sorry. Satish, and there is a line there, which I repeated again. Satish was in awe of George. That means Satish, the case study has been given that Satish saw a new different dimension to George, and he probably started respecting George more after that, because that in awe of George was given that. The case study very clearly says Satish was in awe of George and George still continued talking. So from that perspective, he was very sure Satish can be blasted, Satish can be brought into confidence, and by apologizing, and he did that immediately after. So he didn't apologize after 10 days where Satish starts thinking iske piche ka maqsad kya hai. So from a strategic perspective, if I have 2 seniors in my company, say let us take the example, we're an Indian cricket team. There is Virat Kohli and there is Dhoni today. And suppose Virat Kohli and Dhoni are playing and Rohit Sharma or say naya wicket keeper ka naam kya hai? Pant. Rishabh Pant. Now Rishabh Pant being the captain with Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, in the team, don't you think Virat Kohli, he cannot shout at Virat Kohli as a strategic decision from an emotional intelligent perspective? Don't you think he will blast a new person to send the message to Virat Kohli? I'm just giving a benefit of doubt to George. Don't say that I'm supporting George. I'm just saying, couldn't that also have been a strategy? If that situation was the real situation, don't you think George was a master strategist in playing the emotional card and the intelligence card? That's my question.
So can I just chip in here if it's
please,
another
please.
What if Satish thinks, or probably seniors think, that it is only for juniors or the lower level stuff and the upper cream isn't affected by this?
Possible.
If they have hard skin and they feel complacent.
Very much possible. Very much possible.
So
and
it's a whip only on the junior staff. It's a whip only on junior staff, and complacency can set in amongst the seniors.
Very much possible. Very much possible. I'm not saying no, but I want people to come out with these kind of points. That's my objective of this case study. Let us not be judgmental fast. That is my point of view. This point also is very valid. I'm not saying my point is the only point which is valid. I'm saying that is also one thought process. Everybody got their initial thought process right. Your thought process is one more, way to think at it. That's exactly what I want people to do. Don't immediately become judgmental on people's actions. Spend some time to understand, empathize with them. Yes, somebody was talking.
One analogy from cricket is, it's normally the juniors who are dropped from the team or the playing 11. Seniors aren't dropped, so they're given a long rope. So it could happen in the organization as well.
Possible. Because sometimes after you become a brand, you have a fan following. Fan following is not only the cricketers. Even inside the organization, there are fan following with respect to power centers that gets created. So it doesn't mean so probably it could have been a calculated strategy why Satish was blasted and not the seniors were blasted. Probably. But I have worked in a company in my organization when I was with Hitachi. One of our bosses in a monthly review meeting, the COO, not even CEO, COO blasted the vice president sales. And let me tell you one thing, the shivers that went to our spines, being the location heads or South India head, it was chilling, because we realized that if the vice president is going to be blasted in front of us, hamara haal kya hone wala hai. But that brought about a damn correction from the next month onwards. So that CEO's strategy was to blast the senior. Now George's strategy was slightly different. Depending upon the situation, depending upon the impact, after doing a study, probably they came out to this strategy. I do not know whether the strategy was right or wrong. This case study was not at all given. I'm repeating, to understand whether George is right or George is wrong. But I am brought this case study only for one purpose, which is we judge people on their actions. Can we stop that and take some time? Whatever time, sometimes you might be under a time crunch. So whatever time we have, instead of just impulsively decision on somebody's actions, can we take a step back, understand why, all different reasons why they could have done this action, and then probably take our decision time and then probably come to a strategy or decision. That's what I'm bringing to the table. That is what I wanted. My objective from this case study was as simple as that. I am not here advocating George, neither am I saying George is wrong, George is right. But I'm saying there were different dimensions to think about any case study or any character based on their actions also. That's what I'm bringing to the table. Is that point accepted? That's my purpose.
Sir,
is that point? Yes.
I have to say something in this regard. When we are in face-to-face situation, besides language, body language also counts, because body never tell lies.
Very
correct?
true. Very true.
So when we read the case study, our understanding of that situation can be different. When we are in real life situation, our understanding of the same can be different.
True. Very true. Very true. Because body language is non-verbal communication is 75% of any communication. You're more than what you say. It's what you how you behave, which actually gives a stronger image. Drama, I am into theater also. The drama mein ek bolta hai, what you say is not important, how you say is important. The setup to a dialogue is far more important than the actual dialogue. I will kill you is a dialogue. Now the same dialogue can be said, I will kill you. I will kill you. Huh? Look at the difference. Both different meanings. One is baap telling to a beta and or beti telling to a baap, or the other one is a person like Dharmendra bolte na main tera poon pi jaunga karke. So it could be. So body language, voice modulation, all these add value to your decision making capability. But my submission is, Next time, say, whenever you are into any decision making spree, we are there in it day in and day out, but let us give that benefit of doubt and stop, at least take, not stop, at least give some extra bit time and leeway and benefit of doubt to the other person's actions, and try to find out could there be any other intention which can actually make this reaction come out, and then that will make us far better people from an emotional intelligence perspective. I am not doubting the fact that we have the intelligence. We all have intelligence. It's only about putting or looking at situations from the other person's perspective, which actually makes a big difference. So EI is looking at people from their perspective, at the same time making sure that whatever I am saying or my actions is also going to be viewed on what I said and not what I think. So both jagah pe buffering karke, presentation mein if you make sure that you present it in the right manner using IUV or all the chunking up, chunking down techniques. And this is very briefly, EQ probably I will take for 2 days, but I just summed up a lot of things there. So presentation level pe, what you say is matters, not what you think. But others, when you are gauging others, do the reverse. Don't judge people on what they do or what they say. Start judging people on why they would have said that, why they did what they did. So it becomes a different person, and slowly you start seeing that people start accepting you far more better than probably what they would have in the normal scenario. And that is what EI is all about, in a very broadly put. So I'm open. Anybody on this question on George's case study? My objective, again, I repeat, is not to paint George as a good man or as a bad man, but I have show you one more perspective. A lot of people say that they are willing to, if in their company they want George as the vice president or president because they know he can drive business. But if I ask the same question, there were 2 people who actually gave me a thumbs up for they would like to work in George. They wanted George to work in their company. Who are they? Can you give me a thumbs up? You want George as your vice president? Who are they? 2 people. Who said that? Kriti ma'am. Okay, Kriti ma'am, you in your company you wanted George to work as a vice president. Can you unmute and tell me? Hello. Okay, anybody else? Somebody else also said no. Priyadarshini ma'am said, right? Priyadarshini ma'am, you wanted George in your company, right? Hello, am I audible?
Sir.
Yes. Who is that?
Sir, I'm Sharmila here.
Sharmila ma'am, you wanted George to work in your company?
No, I just want to ask you one question. That in traditional work culture, carrot and stick approach work, but nowadays the work culture is changing. So will this approach work, Ivan?
This approach will always work. Because see, basically carrot and stick approaches are also people-centric approaches, right? See, carrot and stick is only a name. When do you motivate people with rewards? When do you put the fear of loss in people? So that works. It works. It has worked in Lagan movie. Maybe it has worked. When Amir Khan goes and talks to that guy who bowls with a swinging action, who is not part of the team, he uses the carrot and the stick. First he tried the carrot. हमारे पास गोरे मेम है टिप सिखाने के लिए. Then when that did not work, he threw the stick. मेरे पास तेरे जैसा थोड़ी 3 बीघा जमीन है जिसको मैं बेच के मैं लगान भर सकता हूँ. तो then guy said मैं नहीं बेचूंगा. तो he says फिर लगान कहाँ से भरेगा? Then that guy realized that if I don't play and win the match, I have to pay anyhow this tax. So that's how. So fear and both are motivation techniques. Carrot is a motivational technique. Stick is a motivational technique. Both are motivation technique. Depending upon the scenarios, you need to know when to use, what to use. So whether you talk about this time, that time. Attention is also a motivation, recognition is a motivation, birthday ko wish karna is a motivation. So all these are all motivation techniques. It's all carrots. So that technique is age old. It will always survive the test of time because it's only a technique at the end of the day. What you give as a carrot, what you give as a stick is what matters. But to give the right carrot or the right stick, you need to understand people better. That is why EI comes into play.
Hello, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Kriti ma'am.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, my opinion is that George is I would like George to be my boss or an employee, as when he realized his mistake, he very obligingly called his employee and apologized about his mistake. And this is a great deal. If I think it as if my boss apologizes about his mistake, that would be a very great thing to do.
No, just to play the devil's advocate. Just to play the devil's advocate. Mayank sir ने भी यही बोला. Mayank sir ने बोला apologized in front of in alone and blasted in front of everybody. Mayank sir ने some time back brought a counter to this point. He said George blasted blasted Satish in front of everybody and blasted and said sorry in private. So from that perspective, there is one more thought perspective. So whether you make this opinion or you make that opinion,
what this madam is saying is totally theoretical part, sir. This is not a real.
Sir, the point is there is one more thing that he was told about his new coming when he was alone. When he was in meeting, he didn't know anything about. He didn't remind of being his employee, being that Mukesh being a new employee.
Sir,
he realized his mistake in alone only. So the moment he got to know that he was wrong,
it's not a professional way. It's not a professional way. If suppose Mr. George is forget something, they apologize in front of all body.
I think he would have.
Mayank sir, I am not here again. I am just repeating the same point.
It was part of strategy actually.
One second. Mayank sir, मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है. Let me understand this. This case study again, Sanjay sir, I am repeating this. I have not given this.
Okay, sir, you conclude, sir. No problem.
No, why I am saying is there are so many dimensions to a same action. That you are all agreeing. Mayank sir, you are agreeing to this. That could have been various dimensions to a single action.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the thing. This is the butter, sir. This is the butter.
Butter, sir. I am saying there are different dimensions to a same action. So let us not become judgmental in the first instant. That is what I am bringing to the table. That's why I gave this case study. Nothing beyond. And looking at this case study, if I'm a CEO, I will want VP to be George. But if I'm going to report to George, I don't want George as my boss. Let us be very clear. Not many people want George as their boss, but they want George to be working in your company under you. So that also will be happening. Not many people want George. Not many people will be like Kriti to work under George because they will not like the George as a character, as a boss. Possibilities are very high. So, but the reason why I gave this case study is when we talk about empathy, it needs some more time, some more decision making capabilities, some more introspection, some more empathy to understand that character from the actions. That could be different dimensions. That's exactly what I bring to the table. I'm open for any question answers, or I just share my contacts. Anybody wants to touch base with me later on, you can. Anybody, any questions? Feel free.
My question is this, that we understand, suppose I understand people in my surrounding, but what if they don't understand me?
Ma'am, the only person we can change is ourselves. मैं दूसरों को change नहीं कर सकता हूँ. The only person I can change is ourselves. But I can bet on one thing. If we start changing, others around us start changing. This is a practical example. I have seen it personally, and I have gone immense benefits out of this.
Sir, one thing I want.
Yes, Kriti ma'am. Yes,
Sir, I want to ask one thing. The thing sir wanted to say that if he should have apologized in front of everyone, then it would have been a good option to be him as a boss. So in the given case, it was written that he was told about he was reminded about being him the new employee after the meeting was over. So it may be the possibility that if he was
Mayank sir had a very valid point. No one said. Mayank sir had a very valid point. He said blasting in front of everybody, apology should be in front of everybody.
Yes, sir.
No,
yes, sir.
Hold on. No, I'm not going to whether he was right or wrong. But I'm putting myself. Now, even the same. Sanjay sir, 1 second. Even the same action. Now, let me again put empathy. Why is it that George blasted in front of everybody, and George thought, should I apologize? Sanjay sir, Manoj sir. Yeah, thank you. So basically, George, and now again empathy. There are two things. George would have thought, should I apologize in front of everybody, or should I apologize?
I would like to add some more thing like this. Mr. Preet, I think the information is not well furnished by Mr. Preet to BP. That is why the entire episode has been taken place. Mr. Preet introduced Satish in a very brief manner. I think the mistake was committed by Mr. Preet also.
Possible, definitely yes, definitely yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Definitely yes. Definitely yes. But I'm just with the given facts, why did George not apologize in public? Sometimes अगर पिताजी ने बच्चे को गुस्सा किया और मम्मी आके सपोर्ट कर दिया, the entire thing gets diluted. पिताजी गुस्सा करके sometimes dilution happens if you apologize in public. So probably that could also be a reason. I'm not supporting George, but I'm just throwing different sides of different dimensions to every thought process, every action. So just start thinking that. So let us leave George and let us come back to emotional intelligence. Anybody, any questions on the topic? This thing, otherwise. I'll just want to thank the people, the hosts and everybody. So anybody, any questions? I hope I did some justice to what the topic was. It's a vast topic. Jitna ho sakta, I picked the best, the most important things that I needed to cover. Anybody, any questions?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I mean, I just want to share that I have attended so many lectures on emotional intelligence. Your style of telling the things was quite different.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you. But I have found George like bossage in my real life many times that they apologize in private, but they don't implement that thing in real life.
ठीक है, मैम जॉर्ज से बाहर आ जाओ मैम. I think I should not have brought this case study at all. But the fact that people are
explain these things because of he knows very well about the NLP. This is the reason. So they are trying to every theories to explain us what he want to explain.
Okay, fine. I take that as a compliment.
On a lighter side, this weekend we can spend with George and counsel him over the table, and probably tell him over the counter.
Lovely. Thanks so much.
But it was interactive. It was interesting.
Thanks so much. So thanks to the Basaveshwar Engineering College. In fact, it's been a home ground. I regularly visit their campus. Once again, thanks for inviting me, Rashmi ma'am, Javalgi sir, and the entire team. Thanks so much, and all the participants. Thanks for making it interactive. One of my first sessions in Meet. I normally prefer Zoom, but then I didn't notice the difference. Thanks so much. Wish you all the very best. God bless you. Stay safe. Be safe. Thanks so much.
It was really nice one, sir. Cheers.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers to your session.
Very good interactive session, and we can make out. Raman enjoyed it a lot.
Thanks so much.
You can take this example wherever you go, sir.
Thank you a lot, sir. When people come from industry, definitely make the session more interesting. The people who come from industry make the session more lively.
I am from industry, sir. I am from industry and working in the Thapar group.
That is why you are having the blend of two, the academic as well as industry.
Our vice president and our chairman also, whenever he get the feedback meeting, if suppose something is going wrong and he just hot discussed with some people, and after meeting in common place they apologize always. This is the corporate things and practical things. Because of so many madams are asking questions just as a theoretical basis, because they don't have the industry or a real experience. That's why. No problem. It's okay and good.
Okay, sir. I think it's time to wind up. So thank you, Ramani Venkat, for your wonderful lecture. We hope to keep in touch with you and for other interactions also. Thank you, participants, for your enthusiastic participation. We'll close the day, and tomorrow at 9 o'clock we will have one more session. Okay, we'll start with at 9 o'clock. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much. Thanks for the opportunity once again. And wish you all the best.
Thank you. Really very interesting and excellent.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the informative sessions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I am also NLP practitioner, sir.
Lovely. Sir, probably we can connect.
Yes, sir. That's why.
Thank you, sir.